Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. Today is Wednesday, September 17th, and we're back for more helpful news, commentary, answers to your crypto questions. And today is rate cut day.
Oh, I forgot I said that in the back room, and I was like, what's today? I was like, is it a holiday? Did I forget something? Am I in trouble with my girlfriend? What's going on?
Uh-oh. Watch out, Will. It's rate cut day, man. And you were telling me we're getting these at about 2 p.m. Eastern is the announcement, and then Jay Powell is going to speak at 2:30, right?
Yeah. So market's going to be a little crazy today.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if it was crazy and bullish, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah! Yes, we will. Steckler says, falling knife? Question mark. Maybe. Don't try to catch it. Hope you're doing well. Doug, how about you? Are your candles green today? How you feeling, man?
I actually forgot today was that day. It was almost like since Will and I talked about it on Monday, been out of sight, out of mind. And then Will, I saw your tweet this morning. I'm like, oh yeah, that's today. That's the thing. So
you forgot about it? How?
I don't know. I was doing things, working.
I don't know.
Yeah, just getting rugged on memes. You know, the usual. Actually, no, I didn't get rugged, but no, I'm a digital explorer. I got a lot of things going on, so I forgot about it. But I'm FOMC ready today. Let's go.
I like that. I am a digital explorer.
A digital explorer indeed. What about
Nice.
you, Will? Are you exploring digitally today?
I'm doing a lot of work today. I would love to be live streaming while Jerome Powell comes out, but unfortunately I have client meetings throughout the afternoon, so I will not be able to do so.
Yeah.
So I am not a digital explorer today. I am business.
I'm so glad you guys just validated my previous profile on Twitter like 2 years ago that I immediately deleted because no one likes digital explorer.
No more digital explorer.
No.
Tired.
Speaking of people who are doing some exploration digitally, did you guys see that MetaMask launched a stablecoin, MUSD?
Oh, no, I did not.
In the latest token launching, it's not Base, baby. It's MetaMask. More and more stablecoins coming to market. Their token is MUSD, US dollar-backed stablecoin. It's the very first to be issued by a self-custody or browser wallet. They launched it on ETH and on the Linea Layer 2 network, but it'll probably go to other Layer 2s as well because MetaMask is mostly on a lot of different EVM networks, and they're trying to compete. They want to have liquidity in their wallet ecosystem and displace folks like USDT, USDC, and the revenue that they generate from yield will be used to grow their ecosystem. So that's what the head of Linea says. We'll see what that means for regular users like us. I also saw that the chief product officer, or maybe some chief who's working at Stripe, who helped them bring Tempo, their blockchain, to fruition, jumped ship and moved over to Polygon. So everybody is making big moves in terms of stablecoins, in terms of payments, in terms of making crypto rails accessible, coming to a blockchain near you.
Can MetaMask just do an airdrop? I've been waiting for that for 5 years. Just do that first, then the stablecoin. Okay, cool. But selfishly, I have lots of worthless JPEGs from back in the day. Come on.
Man, I would love it. Also, OpenSea, we're looking at you. Where's the OpenSea airdrop?
Yes, facts.
We've been waiting. It would be great. Will, you look intent. Have you got an airdrop you're hunting down actively as we speak that you're waiting for from MetaMask, etc.? Oh no, I think I lost you, Will.
The only airdrop that I'm waiting for that would ever have any impact on my P&L is, well, apparently the Base airdrop. Whenever that happens, I've been using Base for forever. So whenever that garbage comes out, I'll be able to profit nicely off of that. But it's the, oh no, red light. Oh no, what button did I push? Oh no, the only airdrop that I am waiting for is the Base.
There. That's pretty sweet.
I don't know how to fix this. Anyway, I'm just gonna turn it off, turn it back on. Haha. But it's the OpenSea one, so it can eat away at some of my losses from NFT trading from back in 2021. So that'd be great. If OpenSea you could do that, that'd be wonderful.
Doug, are you read into this base thing?
We briefly talked about it the other day, but for the most part, not. I have not watched the videos yet from the that conference.
I'm not going to beat a dead horse. I will read you in, and in case anybody else missed it, I'll read them into that. In a speech, Jesse Pollack said that they are beginning to explore a network token. And they don't have any specifics about tokenomics, about timing, about the design, but they're committed to bringing the community along. And Brian Armstrong also confirmed it. He said it would be a great tool to expand growth, makes sense, and increase decentralization. And I saw, per reporting from Unchained, that VC Nick Tomaino on X said Base will be an instant top 5 market cap coin if they do it right. And I would be inclined to agree. They got
totally agree.
Daily active addresses, over 5 billion TVL. It's the second largest EVM chain by TVL after Arbitrum, which is more of a builder developer chain, but they would be, it would be impressive.
That's a good way to describe Arbitrum, actually. I haven't thought about it. God, wait, is my voice gone again?
No.
You're good. Doug's not. You traded. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, weird. Yeah, I didn't hear any of that. But no, that's a good way to describe Arbitrum. Like, it's a developer chain, because that really is. Like, people build on Arbitrum and then things kind of move from Arbitrum.
What's your take, Doug?
Arb had a nice airdrop. Speaking of airdrops, that was the beautiful one 2 years ago. Anyway, I actually lost my train of thought. It was the good content came out when I was on mute there. Oh, the timing of the base token is just interesting to me. Like, why now? Like, it's almost like, I look at it twofold. It's almost like, hey, from an outlook standpoint, there's more. Not that I'm saying you should launch a token or not based on where you think the market's going to be overall, but it's almost like this is either towards the end of this cycle or like it's the beginning of a much longer period, and it makes more sense to do this now. And then now I ask myself, is it better to launch a token during a bear market or bull market? I don't know.
Here's one thing also.
What's that?
That makes me think that, whatever happens this week and into next week is a short-term dip, and maybe there's another dip for another week after that, and then things kind of rally again, and we eventually get a new all-time high for Bitcoin at the end of the year, and you have an all-time high for Solana eventually at the end of the year too. I know for a fact that there are celebrity collabs planned with various brands in crypto, and that's always your top indicator. It's always your top indicator. It's never not been your top indicator, and we're not getting a lot of celebrity crypto endorsements right now. You had Kanye released his token. That was like a one-off, and then that was kind of it from a celebrity standpoint recently, I feel like. But we don't have a lot of the celebrities jumping in for paid collabs, and that gives me a lot of hope that I'm like, we're not here yet. We're not here for the cringy Super Bowl commercial hasn't shown up yet,
So it's interesting you say that, Will, because I had a thought yesterday, because now with not to go too far down the pump.fun live meta, which seems to be dying very quickly, just like last year around this time, that was the thing. And at that time too is when a lot of celebrities or C-list celebrities were dropping tokens at that time, and it was a top single because I think it was November or December last year of when that happened. I have screenshots. It was of the kid who, the 13-year-old who rugged everybody. It was right around that time, and it was the same kind of vibe. So it's interesting you say that, and kind of aligned with the thesis of that. There's a little left here, and play it by ear once all that stuff starts happening.
Well, we do have some questions asking what is happening, and the number one question I'm seeing is asking particularly about Solana. So let's talk a little more about Solana because it's got some attention and focus. But first, I want to quickly answer this question from our friend Solom. Hey, Solom, good to see you, man. Hope your candles are green. About what the play is for Base to launch a token. Don't they get revenue from Circle? Coinbase aims to be an everything app. And so for their blockchain Base, they want to have as many features, as much functionality as possible. They've got a real tight relationship with Aerodrome, with Morpho in terms of having funded those companies into existence, and then built close partnerships with them to bring all kinds of liquidity. Coinbase, as a front door solution, centralized exchange, can't offer every single product, but now every token that's minted on Base is tradable there. And soon, they hope, it will be easier than ever to go from Coinbase to on-chain, but they want you to do it their way. They don't just want a piece of the circle pie. They don't just want a piece of every token launched on Base. They don't just want a piece of like custodying your money. They want all of it. Didn't they apply for a bank charter too? Somebody help me out.
Yes, they did.
So they're really trying, and they also fact check yourself, brother. Had a relationship with, get me here. I forget the bank, might have been Chase, somebody like that, JP Morgan, somebody
Banky
Bank. That's exactly the one about honoring. What is it? They're so good, dude. Honoring customer deposits such that like when you deposit at this bank, it is as if Coinbase, it's in your Coinbase account, like alleviating the friction of, you know, they take on the liability for it. You got money in the bank, you can turn that into money in your Coinbase account even more seamlessly than other bank users can. And they're hoping to do that more and more. They want to be the front door of the crypto internet.
Yeah, but it's just like, they want to be the front door to the crypto internet, but they're really just positioning themselves for institutions. They're not positioning themselves for people. So it's like, it's a marketing slogan at this point of like, we're going to be the internet. No, they're not. They're not positioning themselves for it. They're going to be the blockchain solution for institutions and stuff to, you know, potentially build on. But I mean, like that's what they're doing right now. And then maybe the institutions build something cool on it that then involves actual consumer products that can actually put people on it. But they're doing step one to get to step two. They're building infrastructure for institutions to then let them build consumer-facing apps, which is one strategy. They themselves are not building a good consumer app. Because if you go and use the Base app right now, which is supposed to be their everything app, it kind of sucks to use. It sucks to use. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't, there's a lot going on. Granted, it might just because it's like a very different way to like go and do everything. Because it's supposed to be like, hey, one app for like all of the apps that are on your phone. You have your banking app and you have your social apps and you have your messaging apps and all that kind of stuff. And it's maybe just too much for me. You know, someone, I'm 32. I've been very used to how like phones are operated, where all your apps are in different places. So maybe it just breaks my millennial mind, right? And I'm unable to grasp this new technology. And I'm now the old man shaking his fist at the new thing and yelling at the young kids to get off my lawn. Maybe, but I doubt it. So it's just like, I just don't see Base really doing that right now. They're going about it in an incorrect way, and they're just chasing money, in my personal opinion. Nothing wrong with that, but it's different from their mission statement, which is to onboard the masses. They're going about it in a 1-2 way. I think you see success models of that in Polygon. By the way, hey guys, you know, would love to say the show's powered by you guys again. Hint, hint, nudge, 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 nudge.
Come on back, baby.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Come on back, baby. You said such great things about us. But anyway, you know, Polygon has two great use cases within the Polygon ecosystem. They have Courtyard.io, which is now like, it's the #1 trading place for Pokemon cards. And that's retail adoption. That's like 80% not Web3 users, it's like 80 or 90%. I forget the CEO's name, but he told us, you know, it's the traditional market. That's amazing. Consumer end adoption of bringing the world on chain. The other, Polymarket, another phenomenal example of you build a really good consumer product that has advantages against products today because you're using blockchain technology, but all the blockchain stuff's in the background. Polymarket is great. And it's a great product and it's getting a ton of adoption, you know? Well, those are two great examples.
I mean, there are a lot though.
For what?
For great examples of like on-chain value on Polygon.
Yes. I mean, on all the blockchains, there are a ton of great examples of, hey, there are advantages here as compared to your traditional Web 2 example. What none of them do is provide a good user experience, except for Courtyard, Polymarket, pretty much everything Pudgy Penguin does. I'm trying to think of other ones, right? You know, Pump.fun has some consumer product adoption, but like, you know, it's definitely more so towards degens and DeFi power users. But like, that's the key is we know there are all these blockchain use cases that can actually onboard the masses, but everyone just builds back-end stuff and no one builds front-end stuff to actually build good consumer products to meet consumers where they actually are, so that they can interact with blockchain technology in the way they're used to reacting and acting with blockchain, with Web 2 technology. That's the thing that needs to happen. That's the transition that you need to see happen. And Base and Coinbase, they aren't doing that. They aren't building good consumer end products. They're trying to build consumer products, but they're not very good or easy to use. They're putting the infrastructure in place for institutions to come in and then have them build that stuff. That's going to take 3-4 years, So that's the thing. They can still totally do it. It's just going to be a longer time frame. And in the meantime, they're just filling up their money bags.
Okay, we did have 1 or 2 rapid fire questions on that note. Eddie asked, and he asked this yesterday, what happened to Polygon? Why is the show no longer powered by Polygon? So I want to address that. We've talked about it before, but just simply, the partnership went really well. We all loved it. But they, like many startup companies, and I would say they're a well-established startup, they have reorganizations all the time. However, we are working on continuing the sponsorship partnership. We've been talking to our friend Rudo over there, who's moved around. And I am hopeful that they will continue to have a strong presence, because they're just doing so much. They're just doing so much real stuff, like stuff with proof in the pudding, that is worth talking about. It was a natural sponsorship fit. But in the meantime, there's a vacuum. And, if your name rhymes with Yolana and you as a foundation want to power the show, then we would consider it. Yolana. Speaking of Yolana, I want to get your takes on this. We have a couple of numbers here, because you talk about bringing like a Web 2 experience to Web 3, and everybody's paying attention to Solana right now because of the price. The native token Sol is moving. In a world where Bitcoin's going, and ETH is going, Solana has been cooking. And a lot of people are bullish on it for a lot of different reasons, but one of them is that one of the arguments beyond the meme coin casino is that it could become a settlement infrastructure for global finance, that it is one of the only chains that could support truly that kind of volume. It can handle over 6 billion transactions a day. It's been battle tested, way more than the 400 or so million global trades that securities markets usually deal with. So they've got fast settlement, they're cheap, they're tested. And nobody's confident in Base, not yet anyway. So I'm curious to know, there are a lot of signs and signals that suggest Sol could continue to outperform Bitcoin, outperform Ether, other major tokens in the wake of rate cuts. So what are we looking at? We've talked about it a lot. We're trading at what, like 230s after peaking near 250 over the weekend?
$234.29 currently.
Shoo. Okay, beautiful. And I'm curious to know, with Sol in our sights and the rate cuts looming, are you making moves, or are you guys in a wait and see? Is there a play this weekend, or do we just need more information? Because there's a lot happening.
I buy Solana every single day. So it's like, just a little bit. Also, Doug, you're muted. God, darn it. No, still muted. Still muted. Can't hear a single word you're saying. Anyway, I mean, he needed to mute because he's clearly sitting on the toilet. He's, putting in that work. But yeah, I mean, I'm like a little bit of a permabull for Solana. Not really, but obviously, if the market turns bearish, I'm bearish. But I buy a little bit of Solana every day, just like I buy a little bit of Bitcoin every single day. And I think good things are going to come for Solana. You have you have companies adding Solana onto their treasuries in a pretty big way. And you have a lot of people who are going to start transitioning away from Ethereum towards Solana, because Ethereum had its run. And when Ethereum had its run, Solana has done this. It's kind of grinded sideways, but to the up. And that has enabled a long period of time for people to take their ETH profits, put it into Solana before it had a big pump over the past 2 weeks, and put themselves in a position to front run Solana ETF with staking being turned on, because we all think that's going to happen. And that should happen around October to November, as well as Ethereum, right around that time frame. Solana could be a little bit later. Ethereum should be around then. And yeah, so I see companies adding it to their balance sheet. I see ETF with staking being a very popular product in the United States, probably more popular than the Ethereum one, because it'll offer higher staking rewards. And that's why I buy a little bit of Solana every single day. So, that's kind of it for me. If I get a dip opportunity here, I go, sweet, I get to buy more Solana every single day. And then I get to add it to my little pile.
Okay, hold on, Will. You said ETH had its run, and Justin Rose in the comments said, "Wait a minute, ETH had its run? What?"
No, not like the end. Sorry, not the end of its run, but Ethereum went from 1,700 to what 4,400, 4,500. That's a hell of a run.
I know. I got to tell you, man, I'm ready for like the end of the year to be bullish, like usual, in terms of this time in history repeating, rhyming, whatever. There's so much good stuff happening and coming. I also am constantly looking for top signals. I think last time it did not feel like it was the end, and this time it doesn't feel like it's the end, but Bitcoin ran out of steam. We realized it later. ETH ran out of steam. There's so much good stuff happening, but I'm constantly looking for top signals.
Yeah, well, for me, and this comes directly from the white whale, and the white whale is absolutely correct, where it's like, you really think market manipulators are going to let Solana not make an all-time high, in a cycle run? It's like, no, there's way too much money to be made. When something is hitting all-time highs, that's when all the liquidity dives in for you to squeeze and profit off of, because you as the smart investor have, bought in at lows. It's like, it makes total sense, because at the end of the day, these markets are highly manipulated, and they are really just tools. You can think about it this way. You can think about it other ways, but they're really just tools for the smart big money investors to liquidate all the short, unexperienced investors and make a bunch of money. Like, right? It's like that's these markets. Obviously there are other ways to look at it, but like ultimately it is a value extraction vehicle. It's a trap. Yeah, it's a value extraction vehicle, and we're all trying to learn about how we can get better at also doing value extraction ourselves. Right? So what is the best way for those people to use this value extraction tool to make the most amount of money? You got to get to that really exciting point of the market where everyone's diving in, so you have the biggest pile of money to value extract. So, and that's just how it works, because these markets are highly manipulated, and you have hedge funds in the game. They have been for a year and a half, and they're really good at doing just that. Very good at doing just that.
From the comments, Doug asks, is this thing on? And Bearded says, is Doug being a mime? So let's check in on our friend. Doug, are you with us?
Nope. Doug, how about you leave and you come back? Because your audio was working before.
For people in podcast land, Doug is aspiring to a new career.
No, that's why. Oh my, there's a double.
Did you literally click the mute button on StreamYard? And
yeah, I've actually never done that. Never.
Sure, you have. Okay, well, good. Welcome back. Now we know. So okay, you've been quiet, you've been thoughtful, but you have a lot of takes on this.
They're all gone. I don't even know. I wanted to go back to what Will's point on the use cases with Solana versus Polygon, but on the current topic on Sol in general, I love Sol. Sol's my inner child is Sol. Everything about it. But I'm like, as of right now, in the short term, I don't care about any markets. I'm waiting, because it's if anything, scalps, like short moves, but from a spot, accumulation standpoint, I like the strategy of just buying Sol whenever it makes sense to buy Sol and Bitcoin. But just kind of waiting for the noise to play out right now, because to this conversation, everything's very manipulated in the favor of the ones who are doing the manipulation, and we're just kind of pawns in the game. So waiting to see where the past lead us, and then making a decision then. Yeah,
exactly. This is a really noisy week.
Yeah,
with rate cuts, and then the triple witching day on Friday. Ooh. Which again is when 3 different derivative markets globally all force action. They all close or roll over at the same time. Happens once a quarter. Volume expands tremendously on this day, and so too does volatility. So be careful.
So one thing too, going back, Will, sort of your point earlier, I want to make on the courtyard, and also too versus like a pump.fun, right? For retail actual use cases, I'm less hesitant to share, hey, a pump.fun shitter to like my friends than maybe like, hey, go check out this game. And if there's a way you could actually gauge the amount of time someone's using that, or a new user from retail in crypto, either let's say the courtyard world, like a Pudgy Penguin world, versus a pump.fun, and they're not like a complete degen prior to coming here, I would imagine that the metric is pump.fun path is much shorter than the other, just because of the expectations of what you may get and the speed of what you won't, how fast you'll lose. So I think that's where the Solana piece has to figure out is how can you basically create those bridges that's not just the gambling part. Now, granted, this entire country for the US is one of our best exports is gambling. We're the best at gambling. We're one of the best things we do. So that is an onboarding, but at the same time, there's a point where it's like there's just not liquidity left. And it's almost like, why would I come back? And I mentioned this the other day, I have friends from the 2021 cycle who have not touched crypto since then because they got crushed so bad last time. They have no interest in coming back until they will. They're kind of just laugh at it. But it's just as of right now, they just have no interest. And like I'm like, hey, this was a great time, but I'm not going to push them. So it's kind of what's that linkage that makes sense for more people to come back or to join, and it's a balancing act, right? So I do agree the Polygon has some very unique or innovative paths for that, but Sol needs some other things until Pump.
Wait, so did you say that you think Pump.fun is a better onboarding for consumers?
Yes, but churn is much higher. That's like the metric of it, where it's almost like you would get here and then there's a faster way of you basically leaving.
So I disagree very strongly against that. But I think it is more so because we have a different definition of the word consumer. A consumer to me is not somebody who necessarily has on-chain skills, which, if you're going to use pump.fun, you need to know about a wallet and stuff like that. A consumer to me is your regular run-of-the-mill person. And even if they do have crypto, they just buy it on a centralized exchange, which is most people who own crypto, right? They don't go on-chain, right? A consumer is potentially someone who has zero on-chain knowledge or, has heard about Bitcoin and probably maybe XRP and Ethereum. And that's about it. Like, that's the majority of consumers. Like, it's just like people as a whole. And they're not going to go on pump.fun. They're going to go, like, they're not going to enter that gambling arena. And for the people who do, that's a much smaller audience still. So that to me aren't consumers in terms of how I'm using the word.
Fair. Can I, let's say the segment of consumers that's attracted by something that's not just a general buy on Coinbase, the ones who are looking for, hey, a niche that is gambling or a niche that is gaming. So that cohort of individuals is the segment I'm talking about, but I agree with what you just said 100%.
Yeah. Okay. Because if you're saying like it's the great tool for consumers, I would say no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're on the same page there. All right. Never mind. We don't agree. I don't disagree strongly or vehemently.
I have to clarify the context to my statement of the segment of the market that I'm talking about.
Classic Rise Up Morning Show. Aha! We found something to disagree with. Mere moments later. Ah, shit. Never mind.
Oh, man,
totally shit. I did have a question I wanted to ask both of you. And Evan, I want to get your answer first because I feel like you'll have a lot of thoughts around it.
Okay.
Which blockchains, and we're including layer 2s in this, are the most well-positioned to onboard consumers based off of the definition that we just established?
Yeah, okay. Polygon is in a great position to help onboard consumers because it's under the hood of a lot of consumer applications like Courtyard, which you mentioned. Solana is obviously in that conversation because it has more regular daily active users than anybody. Base, especially, I hate to say it, if they launch their own token in the short term, is big time in that conversation. I will say BNB is in that race. Tron is in that race because they facilitate at this time more stablecoin payments than anybody else, more on-chain payments.
Yeah, largely in Asia, but yeah, to a big extent.
But I want to represent that market because we don't talk about it as much. I forget BNB exists a lot of the time, but they're killing it. And then what did I say? Polygon Soul. I also wanted to shout out your friends over at Abstract because I do think that killer consumer experiences will be the thing. So there's either performant chains with lots of activity and apps, or infrastructure, or an infrastructure could be funding. It could be like having great wallets. It could be having centralized exchanges like Coinbase that make liquidity flow. I think those chains have dominance in some of those areas, or a confluence of all of them. And the last ones I'll say is somebody, I think a corporate chain, somebody like Stripe, somebody with Tempo or Arc chain. I think somebody who's got distribution like Robinhood or like Stripe is going to bring a lot of consumers into blockchain unknowingly and teach them the tools and skills they need to navigate the crypto space. And then if there's like a, something they have a gripe about because they don't truly own their money or whatever, then somebody be like, well, hey, have you heard about Bitcoin? Or do you use a decentralized exchange or whatever? So good question. Those are my candidates. Surely I forgot someone.
Two things I really like about your answer there is one, the corporate chain experience, because they already have the customers. So corporate chain, boom, customers are on it now. And then get to, kind of spoon feed them. Hey, here's this corporate chain. It's a little bit cheaper. Ooh, you like that? Hey, guess what? Blockchain, bitch.
Tell me why.
No, I can't tell you why. It's just blockchain.
Please clip that. And the other thing I like about your answer was dividing, because like the Western crypto world and the Eastern crypto world are very different in different markets. And outside of the US, even in the West too, like Binance is huge. And so you have the Binance Smart Chain could just build something and start to onboard people. They just don't have any examples of like a good consumer product that I can think of. But then there's Tron and stuff. And then like whatever the Korean market latches onto would just spread and explode across Asia so very, very quickly. So whoever can get a good foothold there. And then, but that's another reason why like I'm a little bullish on Abstract in its ability to do this, because Abstract is in the West and Abstract is in the East, and very much so in Korea, Malaysia, and Japan. And so I'm very curious to see how their continued investments go there.
Are you approved for a stream? Are you on there, by the way, on Abstract?
Yeah, I've streamed twice now on Abstract.
Can you hook a brother up? I'm waiting to get approved here. Could someone approve me?
I am going to add you both. Send me your Telegram handles in the private chat. I am part of a group of streamers. I keep telling Will I'm going to add him, and I just keep forgetting. I keep rugging him. I'm going to add you while Doug gives his answer. So ping me your Telegrams, and I will add you to that chat. Icy hosts it. Shout out Icy.
Okay.
We absolutely love him, and there's a lot of Abstract power streamers over there. I know they'll help you get a link. I think Finn is in there too. He's the head of growth.
Yeah, Finn hooked me up. He's been on the show a couple times. He's the head of growth over at Abstract. And I just hit him up and I was like, hey man, can I stream on Abstract? And he's like, yeah, sure, dude. Send me your address. I was like, thanks, man. Love you.
I will handle that imminently if you ping it to me in our private chat over here, and then you'll be set. Because I also want more feedback on I've had a frustrating experience. Did you, Will, have to set up a unique stream the way you do for Instagram? Like if you're using StreamYard or something, you got to get a stream key every time and put it in?
You just have to do it one time.
One time?
Yeah, I did it. I did it in StreamYard. It works. The only issue is there's something, and I spent like 2 hours trying to fix this audio-wise. Sorry, guys, this time might be too exciting. But I always heard every sound played back twice. My audio to everyone was good, but the audio in my head was like a little bit like this, and so it was a little jarring. So it'd be something interesting to work on with you, because I was going through ChatGPT for about 2 hours, and ChatGPT got to the point like, no, I think you're fucked, and I was like, ChatGPT, hey,
don't say that.
Oh, don't say that. You're supposed to be my oasis in the desert,
dude.
Okay, Doug, what's your take?
Yeah, Doug,
consumers. What was the question again?
Consumers, which chains will onboard them, or
which chains are most well positioned right now to onboard consumers?
All right, let's talk about definition again. What consumers are we talking about?
Consumers are people who consume things in both in the entire world, right? So you have people who are mostly not on chain in any way, shape, or form.
So would you say Coinbase and Robinhood would be like today is already that, right? I mean, that's your primary walk. But if I'm thinking,
nope.
All right,
not in line with the definition I used.
Okay, fine.
Actually disagreeing again.
So in general, the feeling of like when Apple Pay started, and for general, there's still folks who are hesitant to use Apple Pay, and now I think it's almost changing where it's much more like ubiquitous now. It's like, oh, it's everywhere kind of thing.
Yeah, Apple Pay is super common now.
To me, at this point now, where it's like where crypto actually has to be, where you start seeing that type of feeling of just the user experience of the phone, that is your connection point to dApps or to apps, whatever it may be, where it's almost so ubiquitous that the users even know that they're in Web3. And we're not there yet. So I can't say specifically what chain. It's more like, well, which one is giving you that linkage to existing types of features and functionality that you're using in the phone today, where it almost like you don't even know you're in this new digital space.
Yeah, that's the key. It's about getting people on there without them knowing it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the key.
And who was it? I think it's PayPal. Let me confirm this. Just recently did like a payment thing like Kraken did, where they're going to, it's PayPal. It's a peer-to-peer feature called PayPal Links. It's going to let you soon send Bitcoin, ETH, and other tokens through messages, emails, texts, starting in the US.
Didn't they do something with the businesses too? That they accept crypto? I thought that already happened through PayPal or an element of it.
Maybe.
Making that up.
I mean, but there's lots of this stuff. This is coming from the Unchained newsletter, a segment called Today in Crypto Adoption. They've got that bit about PayPal. They've got American Express launched digital NFT passport stamps on ETH-based network, so U.S. cardholders can preserve travel memories as blockchain collectibles. And Robinhood, they're launching a new venture capital fund to give retail investors exposure to pre-IPO private companies, tokenized versions of equity, like they've done with OpenAI. I think they did it with somebody else. There's like that kind of stuff is happening all the time. So I really agree with that. I think it's going to be, under the hood, totally covert. Nobody's going to know they're using crypto until they're using crypto. MoonPay is integrating like with more and more people. They just brought on some PayPal and Venmo executives, and everybody is like sharing cookies together on this.
Yeah, but that's the thing. There'll just be a day where somebody's like using something, and then they'll be like, "Wait, what? I have a balance?" And they're gonna look, and they're like, "Money," and then people are gonna be like, "Wow," and then you'll see a whole bunch of people make content about it too, and be like, "You can make money doing this thing," and then it'll like blow up. You'll have one viral video or something pop off, and then it'll happen.
What about you, Will?
I have Abstract in the number 1 spot. I'll go through my top 5 real quick. So it's Abstract, Solana, Polygon. Let's see. Abstract, Solana, Polygon. And then Base is probably still right there, despite the token release, which, Evan, I disagree with you. I think the token release hurts their mission in onboarding more people.
I'm conflicted on it. I see it both ways. I see it as a net negative.
Yeah.
I think it will onboard a lot of people somehow.
And then the other one is Immutable X. So I have 4 layer 2s for Ethereum and then Solana included in this list. So I have Abstract in the number 1 slot because even though they're like small and young and kind of still in development though, it's 2 parts. It's Abstract is owned by Igloo, the parent company, which also owns Pudgy Penguins. And Pudgy Penguins is currently the face of crypto, and they are the example of taking consumers, people who have zero knowledge and people who have knowledge, and converting them into using on-chain technology without them knowing it through their toy sales. And they have NFTs you can scan, you get NFTs in the game, and yada, yada, yada. And then the other bit is Abstract. So Abstract, I don't think is really ready yet, nor is it described as ready by Luca, the CEO of Pudgy Penguins. But if you go and you use Abstract, it feels like you're using Twitch. It doesn't feel like you're using Polygon. It doesn't feel like you're using Solana or Hedera or XLM or pick one, right? It feels very different. It feels like you're not on Web3. It feels like you're on Web2, some kind of streaming site. And so that's a front end that delivers an experience that consumers are used to interacting with and has all of the blockchain stuff in the background. You don't have to connect a wallet. It creates a wallet for you via an email, right? All that kind of stuff. So now they have the front end, and then they have the experience of the company that happens to be making $50 million a year right now with Pudgy Penguins that has that experience of actually onboarding people without them knowing it. Now you just have to wait for those two to do one thing together, and you have something very powerful to actually onboard the masses, right? So that's why, but I say that being like Abstract still needs to continue to develop, right? But there's a lot of possibility there. Number 2 is Solana because, and I have them over Polygon in my opinion, not because like Polygon's done a better job at onboarding consumers than Solana has because they have those 2 great products I mentioned, Courtyard and Polymarket. But Solana has shown that people who are on chain will use Solana to a far greater extent than anything else in the crypto space. So all Solana needs, and I say this, but it's very difficult to do, is one really good consumer product. And then attach that to the back end, and you got something that can really do some numbers, right? Yeah. Number 3, and kind of tied with Solana, is Polygon, just because they have that success right now of onboarding people. Number 4 is Base, just because they're so well connected with Coinbase and BlackRock, and they have so much money, and the developers there are still so good. And even though I think the Base token will be long-term negative for them in terms of onboarding people, in the short term, it'll be positive because it'll bring attention and money and people, there as well. And they're kind of too big to fail at this point, in my personal opinion. And so they'll, like I said, have some institution build a front end on top that's actually a good consumer product, and there you go. You have your onboarding of the masses, but that's going to take a longer period of time. And then I have Immutable X as my wildcard slot, because they are the Web3 gaming giant, in my personal opinion, and it's the best place for AAA gaming studios to come and build, in my personal opinion, if they want to be on ETH, which I think they will, because that's where BlackRock is. But maybe they choose Avalanche, maybe they choose Solana, still totally possible. But I think Immutable X just has too many useful tools for them, and that then there'll be a game, and then that game will be a popular game at some point, and then that will onboard the masses who play video games. So those are my thoughts and reasonings.
Can you elaborate a little on, we had a question about how the sale of product or the proliferation of brand for Pudgy Penguins, for Igloo and other stuff they do, Abstract, is going to accrue value to a token like Pengu. And in the comments,
sure.
the same way that Apple selling computers, or Steve Jobs getting press coverage, increases the value of Apple stock. And they said, well, it's not that direct though. Like Pengu's not a stock for the company, or what would you say?
No, well, they're going to do an IPO for Igloo. It's probably, it could take a year or two, but they've also hinted at tokenizing stocks on chain before doing an IPO too. So there's some interesting things that they're cooking up, and I can't wait to talk to Luca about it at the end of October. But so here's the thing. If you really want to break down Pudgy Penguins and why I'm super bullish on it, and no, I am not getting paid by anybody at Pudgy Penguins or Igloo, the parent company, or Abstract at all. This is just me naturally being like, oh, this shit fucking slaps. Okay.
He could be though. He could be.
I would love to be sponsored. Like, hey, I'm going to talk about you guys for free. Might as well talk about it and get paid and have you guys on the show and get like, the Rise Up morning show Pudgy Penguin cross merchandise would be fucking
I just
fire.
want a penguin hugging
I want a
my
penguin
mug.
right there on the mug, dude.
A mug warmer.
I had ChatGPT create like some potential like logo brands combos, and I was like, oh, these are so good. It was a Pudgy Penguin and like a Rise Up shirt, and I was like, it's so good. Anyway, I digress. Let's get into it. How does the brand of Pudgy Penguins and the brand exposure and growth help Pengu, the token, or Pudgy Penguin NFTs, or Abstract? Okay. So first of all, let's talk about the brand of Pudgy Penguins. Pudgy Penguins is the most popular brand that has been created out of the Web3 space. It is also the fastest growing IP, intellectual property, in the world. Not just Web3, in the world. If you go on how they started, is Luca buys the NFT project, time goes by, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, hey, we need to make this a brand. I have a long-term vision. How do we do this? And he goes, people love memes. How do you control memes? You control GIFs. So they started making GIFs, right, of these Pudgy Penguins. And that became a very popular GIF. In fact, it is the second most used IP in all of GIFs in the world, behind SpongeBob. Okay. And in third place, Disney. Okay. This should put something, it's pretty freaking impressive how many people see these penguins. And so they go, okay, cool. We're cooking with gasoline here. Now they get 1 billion views a day of their penguins through GIFs and also all of their social media pages and their marketing tactics that they do. 1 billion impressions a day, right? These are Coca-Cola numbers, okay? Like it's nuts how fast this is taken. So all these eyeballs are on Pudgy Penguins. This has now become a very valuable brand. So how do you take that and make money off of it? You take that, and they went to Walmart. And they got a toy deal with Walmart and with Target and now with Amazon. And now their toys are available in 10,000 plus retailers internationally. And they are on track to make $50 million in toy sales alone this year. Okay. So they're making money. They also make money with licensing. They make money with their NFTs. They make money in a bunch of other ways, right? So this is a business. This is a Web3 business that is making a crap ton of money. Okay. Now, you have that brand. This IP is becoming very, very valuable. What happens then? Institutional investors go, hey, this is a really, really, really fast growing IP. I want a slice. And so now you have treasury companies looking to buy Pengu add it to their treasury sheets, their balance sheets, which is currently happening right now because they want a slice of the action of Pengu. Also, you have people buying the NFTs itself. You have the CBOE, the Chicago board. I forget the name of it, but it's the CBOE, right? They actually picked up the Pengu ETF and brought it to the SEC. And that ETF includes Pengu tokens and Pudgy Penguin NFTs. It's the first of its kind. And it's pretty crazy that the CBOE picked it up, because the CBOE has only brought to the SEC a couple of crypto ETFs before: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and Doge, and also Pengu. Those are the 5. The other ones that you've seen the CBOE hasn't touched. It's very meaningful for the CBOE to bring it to the SEC, because they say, hey, if you turn on this ETF, I will give you the liquidity from my exchange, which is large. It's very, very large, okay? So that means a lot. You also have Pudgy Penguins. They rang the bell on the stock market. They have a very close relationship with VanEck. They have a very close relationship with Tom Lee, who is like the Michael Saylor
Mr.
of
ETH,
Ethereum. Yeah, he's Mr. ETH. And you have all this exploding, and it's because the brand is valuable. They're making a long form movie. They have a show on YouTube. Their Pudgy Party game has been popular. They have proven to the institutional world, you can take a Web3 model, get people to fall in love with it, get people to buy toys, get people to get on chain without them realizing it, and grow this IP and make money in a traditional way that these companies understand. They all want a cut. And that is really good for the Pengu token. And on top of that, they've also talked about doing buybacks and burns one day, when they're like, hey, we've kind of conquered the marketing world. And if they're making $50 million in toy sales alone now, and their IP and brand continues to grow, the amount of money they're going to make off of that is going to become gargantuan. And then they're going to start taking that revenue, buying back Pengu tokens, and burning them at the end of the day, when all things are said and done, when they have nothing else left to do. And that's the thing. And then they're going to release stock, and then people will buy the stock in the company. And then that'll be another means for them to raise more money, to then buy back Pengu token and their own NFTs and burn them, essentially, and reducing supply, causing the price to go up. The writing's on the wall for me for Pengu. Pengu is going to be that token. And this will be the last thing I say, where, you see like the list, like in 2019, you missed this. In 2020, you missed this. In 2021, you missed this token. It's going to be like, hey, in 2026, you missed Pengu. And then it's going to be like, in 2027, you missed Pengu again. I really firmly believe that. And I'm buying more Pengu every day than I am buying Bitcoin.
Really? Okay. Interesting. Alex said in the comments he wishes he was on the show so he could argue with us about this.
Too bad, Alex.
I know what he would say. I think about your bullishness, he would say
not ideal.
And about the likelihood that Pengu overtakes all these other brands is maybe not that possible. It's possible, but
This is a gross misrepresentation of the facts.
and
It's just stupid. I will absolutely die on this hill.
so there you go.
Hey, man, the proof's in the pudding right now. They're above Disney and below SpongeBob, so they keep up that momentum, and they're going to do pretty damn
I don't
good.
disagree. It all depends on them keeping that momentum, though. And when you're
Yeah.
at the front, the only place to go is,
Well, hey,
back.
dude, here's the most impressive thing. They got that Walmart deal, and they built that IP in the bear market.
Yeah,
They did
I
it in
agree.
the bear market with the least amount of eyeballs possible. That is the single most impressive thing about that entire accomplishment.
I would give it to him. I think you did explain it really well. CryptoBoat said Will knocked it out of the park. And we have a lot of follow-up questions about, is it a fad? Is it a long-term hold? True Light said Labubu over Pudgies. But I think we might have to unpack him in a little bit, because before we get lost of him, I would like to see Doug give us a final thought, a last impression, a good joke or word of wisdom, because I know you got to ride your dog and pony into the sunset. So let me say thank you for joining us.
I'm just waiting for Evan to look up.
But
Being a,
Will, if you want to get paid from me, you gotta stop talking about it. You can't just do otherwise. I'm working a Pudgy.
I'm sorry.
Free.
I will not gatekeep information, okay? I was talking about base and getting made fun of it in 2023. We talked about Aerodrome at 5 cents. We talked about Morpho at 30 cents.
Oh,
I do not gatekeep. I help everyone try to make money, okay? And here's my Pengubu.
Pengubu.
So two things, Evan, on your before I go here. I judge a book by its cover, going back to the base conversation overall and like the Will's list, which I like the list that he gave there.
Yeah.
And maybe it's me because I have first impressions. I tried to use base last year and I got frustrated and I never went back. And now it's like, I know I have to go back and just, give it another chance in general with anything, just because things evolve very quickly in this space. But overall, it just takes me time to do that. And I think in general, I don't know what the stat is. It's like in general, users of a new app with a poor experience, like 88% never come back. It's something of those numbers. In fact, fact check me, but it's in the 80s, and this is in general. So I think a lot of folks are like that, where it's almost like it needs to give me some type of very, very smooth user experience. And I didn't get it at first. And again, no shade to them. I just haven't used it since. So that's going to be a key part for me on new user adoption or new consumer adoption is the seamlessness of what I'm in. Again, not even realizing what I'm in, but it just works for me all the way through. And I enjoy using the app itself. So my final thoughts for like FOMC here, same as this week in general. Like, ask yourself, why do you want to do anything? Like, why do you even want to entertain a trade right now? Like, do you think that it's all of a sudden just going to go in one direction and not go in the other direction again before it decides what it's going to do? It's going to do what it does every single time. You're going to see crazy liquidation candles on both sides. And I know most of the folks that are asking are probably entertaining small leverage trades, which you assume you're going to get stopped out, regardless if you're using less than 10% leverage. And most people don't use that. I'd love to see that stat, by the way. What is the average leverage or the median leverage used in each ecosystem? Like by a number.
That would be interesting.
More like the frequency of transactions, less about the size. I'd like to see that because most people, I would guess, my gut will be your gut number, Will. I think it's like over 25%, without a doubt.
Oh.
Dude.
Oh, no, sorry, I just got really distracted. China has officially banned companies from purchasing NVIDIA's chips.
Oh my God. First they banned crypto, now they're banning NVIDIA chips. What is going on?
We'll see, because aren't we supposed to be close to a US-China trade deal by like the end of this week? Because we were told that there was a framework in place that, and this was by China. China was like, yeah, we have a framework in place that like we're kind of feeling pretty good on, and the United States said that as well. Because weren't we supposed to be close?
We are, or we're not. Seems like.
Apparently.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Leave with this. Yeah. Don't do anything. Like, why? If you're already in positions, cool. But like, just wait. September sucks. This is a volatile. Probably one of the most. And I say it every time. You say like, oh, this is the most. Everyone's so focused on FOMC this time. Like, this one's a little different because it's just it's like an inflection point of many narratives right now that's here. It's we're just kind of there. So I would recommend doing nothing and thank me later.
Doug, Dune has, I can't log into it because they make me sign into my account. Dune has a dashboard for the average leverage use by crypto user for different tokens. They don't have chains, but they have different tokens.
Is it like an aggregated number of overall or no?
It just says average leverage. I have no idea.
Right.
I'm going to send it to you in the chat.
These are questions I want to ask an AI. Is there a blockchain AI that, by the way, that's kind of analytics?
Yes.
So I can ask a
one of them is called Falcon X. It's by Fogel. And I know about it because of Unchained. And if you use their referral link, just go to unchainedcrypto.com, search for Falcon X. I'm sure it'll pop up somewhere. You can get like 2 or maybe 4 weeks free. And it's oriented towards crypto users who want to, I keep,
Oh, I know this. Okay.
If you use it, I want to know how you think about it because among other friends, I know the White Whale, shout out, we love him, is looking for better sources of crypto information. So
almost like have a little bot where you can basically talk to it on stream and like hey, I have a metric request for on-chain data and like give it to me in real time. Like that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I need to get signed into Dune too because there's so many good Dune dashboards. If you're not using Dune.com and you're not checking out unchainedcrypto.com for your news in addition to Rise Up, what the hell are you doing? So sorry to rug your final thought, Doug, but
no,
we'll come back with even better data, and I know you'll be right there with us. So thank you, man, for making time to join the show.
You guys have me today on this Wednesday, so we will chat tomorrow or later, and have a great day.
I'll see you in the chat, Doug.
Tomorrow, because no After Dark show today.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, monsters and machines. We are announcing officially now for the first time live on air, sorry, better late than never, that we are going to skip Rise Up After Dark tonight.
Correct.
And we will be back for more Rise Up Morning Show tomorrow. But don't go anywhere because we still have about 30 minutes of the show. So if you've got a crypto question, you got a suggestion, a good joke, a word of wisdom, then you know what to do. And if you're listening to the podcast, hey, hello, we hope your candles are green. Let us know what your question is too. The best place for it is going to be the Rise Up community. It's totally free to join, and the link lives with so much more at RUMSHQ.com. Since I said his name a couple times, I'm going to give the White Whale a big thank you for powering the show. Sponsoring the show now is the White Whale, and his request is find him. Find him on Twitter. Find him on TikTok. The White Whale, HL, spelled just like it sounds. And then leave him your questions. I am hopeful that we'll have a segment sometime soon called From the Depths with a great bumper where he will answer your questions or give exclusive wisdom to listeners of the show. If you don't know the white whale is deciding to come to the surface from the depths to give literally a whale's take on the markets, helping you get in touch with good information about what they call the apex predator mindset, meaning the powerful, money-rich traders that move markets, and how you, as a trader or investor of any size, can think better, get out of a poverty mindset, and just have a better strategy. So shout out to the white whale for being a real one. And Will, we got about 30 minutes left of the show, man. We got plenty of time to answer people's questions. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, and there was
in the chat. What do you know about that?
I was sick.
Beluga to you, sir.
Beluga to you, sir. Yeah, there's a great question that was, how does NVIDIA, and I know that's not the name of the company, I know it's NVIDIA, but NVIDIA sounds awful. NVIDIA sounds way better, it flows off the tongue. And so, like, how does NVIDIA affect crypto? NVIDIA is the largest stock in the world. It is worth more than the entire country of Canada.
What?
It is worth more than the entire country of Canada.
Wow.
NVIDIA is.
Brother. That's crazy.
So, if NVIDIA has a bad day, the world's financial markets have a bad day. That is why it's important. It is just an incredibly large one. That's it.
That's a good question. We also have a question, totally changing topics about fees. How do you save money when you're moving money on chain? If you're on Coinbase, if you're on crypto.com, if you're on Kraken. I want to shout out our friend Joe. Hey, Joe. Speaking of Canadians, rise up. Sent me an email earlier today about crypto.com's new pro program. If you are somebody who's trading a lot of money on a centralized exchange, wherever you are, you will almost certainly have the option to pay between $5 and $30 a month. That's what it costs at Coinbase. That's what it costs at Kraken. And now crypto.com to get some money back on things like Netflix subscriptions, trading fees, and Spotify memberships, to get a little more yield or to get other perks from being a customer and user of their platform. A lot of these have cards that will allow you to spend your crypto the way you would spend cash, a debit card type experience. But they all have good documents, terms, and conditions. If you're looking to reduce trading fees, the first place I would go on your platform of choice is to see if they have a pro or membership plan. Coinbase calls theirs Coinbase One. Crypto.com is calling it like Crypto.com Pro. And Will, do you know what Kraken's is?
I don't know.
Exactly. Coinbase pioneered it, but they're all basically doing the same thing where they're eliminating spreads or trading fees, reducing spreads. And the answer, unfortunately, will differ from person to person, place to place where you live in terms of what's the cheapest way to use crypto. But
yeah,
check those out. What do you think, Will?
And can I just say, like, with Base's token release as well and everything, and I'm just kind of like, God, this is gross. Like, come on, guys. It makes me want to use Kraken instead of Coinbase. It makes me
want to use Kraken.
I had the opportunity to give someone the other day. It was like, hey, give me your ETH address or your Solana address. And I was like, I opened up my Base app and I was like, no, I won't. And I opened up Phantom and I was like, Solana is perfect. I am totally making decisions now that are just like a little bit boycotty of Base. I'm sure I'll still use Base, but like a little boycotty. But anyway, that's not what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about is like Kraken.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta improve your marketing, dude. Guys, ladies, everyone there, because you are the cheapest and most user-friendly centralized exchange in the United States, and yet only everybody knows about Coinbase. People don't know about you if they're not in the space. You really got to improve your marketing. And the other thing too is like, I know we have like some friends over there and stuff, but no one knows about your version of Base either. No one knows about what Ink. I forget the name of it sometimes.
Yeah,
they have sick branding. They don't tell anybody about it. They're just like, we're here and we built it. It's cool. I'm like, okay, and did you tell anybody? No. You gotta tell people. They are the most consumer-friendly centralized exchange in the United States, and they don't do anything to market about it, which we could help with. Kraken.
We could help.
I would totally help. It'd be awesome. And guys, one thing I want to say too. Let's get Kraken. and then we're dressed as like we're making omelets, but we're dressed as octopus. You know, we're like that'd be great. Anything where I can buy a costume.
Could you imagine Alex in a Kraken costume?
He'd be so upset.
Yeah,
he'd be so
Absolutely
upset.
die on this.
Okay, go ahead.
You know, the last thing I'll say is just on the topic of like sponsors for the show. Like, we won't accept any sponsor, right? They have to match our ethos of like being here to help the people. And those are the types of people we're willing to take sponsorships from. You know, people who we already talk about or are excited about. So the point where it's like, you know, we're not biased. We're talking about stuff that we'd be talking about anyway. So, you know, that's it. You guys don't have to ever worry about us just taking money and shilling garbage your way. We're never going to do that.
I don't know, man.
What?
I don't know, man. I love me some literal garbage. And I actually feel like there's a great campaign in like clean up your neighborhood. Don't be a litter bug.
All right.
Dusting on chain.
Fine,
and
well,
like making a joke about all the garbage in the I think there's something there.
Okay, fine. We'll talk about literal garbage cleanup.
Literal
If there's a
garbage.
blockchain solution to literally clean up garbage, actual garbage, then sure, yeah, we'll push some garbage.
You know. Oh man. Shout out to Protagonist for the comments on YouTube, spotlighting a number of different projects. If you've got a crypto question, you got something you want to share, we do see the comments. It is a live show, and if you're listening in podcast land, we will look up your comments too. Shout out to T Revolution, who says, yeah, I used to pick up trash for fun. And Tori mentions Vrbs. That could be the play. I know our friend Beans got a grant from Vrbs, the DAO, to clean up the area around his agricultural project and living space. Shout out Beans for making the earth a better place. And shout out Vrbs DAO for making it possible. I was really bullish. Do you ever see Vrbs? That was a base native project where it's like Nouns. For people who want a little crypto history and you like JPEGs and NFT collectibles, there was a project called Nouns, and it's still there. Every day they auction off one JPEG, a noun, which is an NFT that entitles you to be a voting member in the Nouns DAO. And they have a treasury, and anybody can make a proposal about how to use the funds, and the members vote on where to allocate them. And they've done all kinds of creative projects, justice-oriented projects. They've built stuff, products, services that people use. And they have, speaking of IP, awesome IP. If you've seen those like square glasses, maybe I can get a little screenshot of them. Those are called noggles. Nouns.
Noggles?
And
that's a fun word to say.
They're iconic. And they have a brand that kind of has gone a little bit beyond crypto. But Vrbs is like a base native version. People were like, Nouns DAO is too big. It's
those.
Yeah, check them out.
Oh, you got it.
I've got it. But people have bought a Vrbs as a way to like participate in the same kind of DAO culture. It's a lot of crypto natives, and I bought one that had some cool goggles like this, and it looked like Megaman. I loved it.
Oh, nice.
And Vrbs is a great example of like.
Oh, I remember this now.
Yeah.
They were like, I wanted that Megaman one. I was actually watching it, and I was about to snipe your bid for it, and I decided to not.
No way, man. No way. Never.
I was about to like double your bid. I was like right there. I was like, oh man,
I'm so glad you didn't.
This would be really funny for me.
No, it was awesome. I loved it. So there are all kinds of social experiments like that. There are all kinds of, bringing actual trash pickup to the blockchain, and also intellectual property. That's the key. Are people into what you're selling? Are they picking up what you're putting down? In the case of trash, maybe the answer is yes. Anyway,
maybe the answer is yes.
You know. Okay, we've got about 20 minutes left on the show, and I've got a couple of questions lined up. If you see one, Will, don't hesitate to rug me. But we had a question here from Daniel Baker about ETFs, specifically the Ondo ETF. What do you think about the likelihood that Ondo launches an ETF, and that ETF is widely adopted? And I want to expand the question to ask, because it's been a minute since we've talked about this. We know that we're getting Sol and ETH ETFs with staking turned on likely soon. What are the other ETF products that could come out of crypto that you or those consumers you defined earlier you think would be most excited about or most likely to benefit from? So let's start with Ondo. You think Ondo is a good candidate for an ETF? And
well, there's already an ETF filed.
Is there? Okay.
Yeah, there is. It's filed by 21 shares.
Oh.
So like, you know, the odds are okay-ish of that being approved, but I only say okay-ish because the total market for Ondo still isn't really that liquid in terms of what the SEC considers to be liquid, right? It's not a really big asset in the grand scheme of things. And the SEC tends to say no to that kind of stuff. But we also have a very friendly SEC for approving stuff for crypto. So I kind of view that as a wash. But the thing is 21 shares issuing an ETF isn't as powerful as a Fidelity issuing the ETF. It's not nearly as powerful as a BlackRock filing an ETF. It's BlackRock number one, Fidelity number two, and then everything else is kind of falling below in terms of who has the weight really to kind of get it done. So I view the odds of an Ondo ETF being approved at like 40%. And the other thing too is that's also not an ETF that the CBOE picked up and brought to the SEC. So like the odds are a little bit lower. So just, I mean, I think it could happen. I wouldn't be surprised by it, but I wouldn't be surprised either way is what I'm saying. Just because the SEC is like, hey, thumbs up all across the board for crypto. But at the same time, it doesn't really make sense to give Ondo an ETF right now because the markets aren't liquid enough. And who's issuing the ETF to the SEC? It's not like one of the big power hitters, you know. Yeah. But it makes sense to have it one day, assuming that the tokenization of real world assets really blows up, which we all think it will. And also, you know, Ondo has its, you know, kind of fingers in that pot a little bit too. Or BlackRock has its fingers in that pot a little bit too in Ondo. So, you know, it makes sense to happen one day. I don't know if it makes sense for it to happen soon. So yeah, I don't really have a strong feeling either way. Yeah, but it's definitely not one of the ones where I'm like, it's totally going to happen.
Okay. Are there any crypto products that you think are, you know, of course they need an ETF, or that you would be most excited about seeing an ETF for? Because I think just like we're seeing a lot of stablecoins, I think stablecoins have kind of taken the wind out of some of the ETF sales because that was a trend. The digital asset treasuries have kind of taken the wind out of some of the ETF sales, but I think
not really.
A lot more crypto ETFs.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, like you've seen ETF volumes do amazing. In the past 7 days, we've had $2.9 billion of inflows through Bitcoin, and the Ethereum ETFs have been doing phenomenally as well for like.
I meant announcements as like a novel product. Like for a minute there, it was like, oh, we're going to file for this ETF and a this ETF and a this ETF. It was like a news thing to do.
Yeah, now ETF filings don't really make the news, but I mean, the only ETFs that I think the market's really excited for is the Solana one with staking and Ethereum's having staking turned on. I also don't necessarily think that we need the Pengu ETF, even though I'd love to have one. You know, I don't think we need that because I don't think we need the Doge ETF either. But you know, we don't need it. You know, is it nice to have some kind of an option? Because retail has really been buying ETFs like crazy this year, way more than institutions. Across the board to the tunes of like hundreds of billions of dollars more than institutions. You know, if there's been seen a great attraction of retail investors towards meme coins, and so having one meme coin option would be very attractive for traditional financial markets to make a lot of money off of. And Doge could be your one because it's highly decentralized and it's been around for a long time and it has the highest liquid market of any meme coin. So in that sense, Doge is more likely to be approved than an Ondo ETF at this point in time. And also the CBOE has picked it up to the SEC. So is there another ETF product that the market needs? I mean, past those four, no. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and Doge. I think Doge deserves it more than, you know, some of the other non-meme plays, because if you think about it in terms of a business, you have Bitcoin, your name brand, you have Ethereum and Solana, which are two really big coins that are pretty liquid, that give exposure to options to like the platform plays that institutions and retail are really interested in. And then you have one exposure to the meme coin market, which is proven to be a very popular instrument for retail. And that provides the ability for your BlackRocks and your Fidelities and the issuers of these ETFs to make a lot of money on fees and trading fees and all that kind of stuff. And so those are the four that really make the most sense to me, thinking as a business like BlackRock or Fidelity.
Say them again for the people who said, what?
Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and Doge.
And I would say, we had a comment from Austin Cook. Link, Chainlink, I actually think Link would be an interesting product because I see it mentioned in Web 2 publications or in proximity to Web 2 partners. And I feel like anything like that which is touching the other part of the world that crypto natives like, but which people who are not crypto native would also understand the value of, seems like a reasonable thing to me.
Yeah, that would be the product that a BlackRock or Fidelity could add to that portfolio of 4 turning into 5. That'd be like, cool, now we've provided an option for more institutional investors who want to get exposure to the infrastructure side of this space, which is something institutional investors very much so like to get exposure to. So I would include that into like the 5 ETF products that are, if I'm BlackRock or Fidelity, being like, this is what I want to bring to the market. And then the only way that Pengu would be added into that list of need to have is not because you need meme coin exposure, but because you need something that gets exposure to this IP that's growing, this brand that's growing. That'd be the only other sell point that would make this portfolio of 5 expand to really incorporate as much of the market's interest as possible to make the most amount of money possible. Got it.
Shout out to Solom in the comments who shared a couple of links about Hiero. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is a cool move by Hedera where they have, under the Linux Foundation, published all of their code. They've put it into a Linux Foundation repo. It doesn't like really change Hedera's fundamentals or anything, but a network that is pretty closed and permissioned, that's like an interesting move. They've basically donated their code and said, hey, here you go. The code is public. Anybody can check it out. You can use it. You can build on it. That's it's an interesting move.
Mm-hmm.
I love when blockchains do cool stuff. And
it's nice when they do cool stuff.
It's nice when they do cool stuff. And it's also interesting, you know, why they do what they do. I don't think, like I said, that changes anything about Hedera fundamentally, but it might give them some sort of enterprise legitimacy because the Linux Foundation is about as legit as it gets, especially when you're coming to software, but especially open source. You know, gives them some regulatory cover. Our stuff is open source. Don't come for me, bro. And I think it really, a lot of chains struggle right now. Only crypto people seem to care about this. I feel like centralization, decentralization. Nobody who's actually using Hedera's blockchain cares that it's centralized. In fact, they prefer it. Amazon or SpaceX or whoever would prefer that not everybody is able to have an input or control what happens on the project they build on a given ledger. So I don't think every blockchain needs to be open, permissionless, and decentralized, because I saw some comments about that. Different strokes for different folks. Isn't that what the saying is?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And also that did remind me one other thing with ETFs, because I see John Boyle's comment here on X, which is cough, cough, XRP, cough, cough, for ETF conversation, which is, and this could be a no for XRP ETFs. It could also be a no for the Pengu ETF, and it could be a no for, actually, I don't know how decentralized the holders are of Chainlink, but it's just decentralization is something that comes into a factor of decision making for ETF approval, because the SEC doesn't want to like make a king. The SEC doesn't want to do that. One of the things about an ETF is you want to, although we've seen plenty of king making lately over the past like 10 years of insider trading from Washington, so that's great. But so that wouldn't be off brand at all. No. But you know, one of the things they're looking for is they want it to really be a commodity. They don't want to like make one singular person super rich. Like Bitcoin's decentralized, Ethereum is, you know, decentralized. Solana a little bit more centralized, but pretty decentralized now after the FTX collapse, and the venture capitalist is far less venture capitalist in control of Solana. But still, XRP is very centralized in the holdings of Ripple. That would be a kingmaker thing. The Pengu supply, I forget how much of it, but there's a decent amount with the Igloo parent company as well, I believe. I need to fact check that. But something else that enters the mix now is Cardano. I'm not a fan of Cardano, but Cardano's very decentralized. And that's one of the reasons why the federal government said, hey, the only blockchains we view to be mature are Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano. You know, so a Cardano ETF in that sense is likely to be approved one day, just because it is a very decentralized, more commodity-esque crypto. So like, you know, there's a path forward there because of how decentralized Cardano is. and, maybe not a path forward of ETFs for the other cryptos, despite the things I said before, because they are a little bit more centralized in their holdings. So, it'll be interesting to see how the SEC moves forward.
Yeah, I agree. My last story to share on the way out is also by way of Unchained Crypto. I learned that Donald Trump has launched a $15 billion defamation lawsuit against the New York Times and Penguin Random House, speaking of penguins, because since its launch, the Trump token has lost over 88% of its value. And Trump's legal team argues that it is negative coverage from the Times that has worsened this decline, that it was intentional and that it was a pattern of abuse and he was a victim. So I am interested to see where this lawsuit brought in the great state of Florida goes.
Interesting.
Could it be the next play? And could that be the new meta, is meme coin founders suing major news publications? Possibly, except that major news publications really aren't talking about them unless you happen to be a world leader. So that's my last story. If you've got a final thought, you got a last minute question, you got a good joke, a word of wisdom, you know what to do with it. Leave it in the comments. And then let me remind you, if you're enjoying the Rise Up Morning Show, especially if you're listening for the very first time, we have recordings on all your favorite social platforms. We got them on YouTube in playlists. We got them on Spotify. We got them on Apple Podcasts. I recommend, for the visual heavy episodes, throwing it up on your television because we do look good in HD. And my friends, while you're there, check out rumshq.com. We've got classes that we need to do a refresher of. I got a good shout out from our friend Ethicalish, who said, you need to refresh the classes because you reference Discord and all this other old stuff, and the show has grown so much, and we need recorded resources that keep up with it. So watch out for new, fresh classes soon. We've got a live educational cohort coming at the start of next year, where we're going to take you 0 to 60 to become a safe, confident crypto user week by week. And of course, the free community. It's a great place to get a second opinion, to ask a question, to share what you know. You think you're being scammed, or want to avoid a fee, or need to know how to swap a token because you've never done it. All of those things are great questions for the Rise Up community. We say it because it's true. The only thing missing, my friends, is you. Rums, RUMSHQ.com has got all the links. We really would love to see you there. It's the best place to go for a question. It's where the show lives 24/7. And so that's what I do.
Also, you will get more raffles in the giveaway that I'm doing for a Pudgy Penguin toy, which unfortunately I need to do the post on Twitter over again. So let me share my screen real quick. Let me make sure I pick the right one. XXXXX. I'll just do the entire screen.
Do the entire screen. Tell me about this giveaway.
Yeah, so because I found something I love, which is Pudgy Penguins, I have now spent hundreds to thousands, actually now thousands of dollars at this point on buying like NFTs in the ecosystem, and toys and stuff and cards and stuff. Although I'd already bought the cards a while ago, but there are a few I wanted. It's the perfect time to buy because I find something I love and then I just go, wallet's on fire now, because that's how I operate. But so anyway, I bought 2 of these by accident. 2 of these little Pudgy Penguins, like Mr. Potato Head kind of guys. And I was like, might as well use that as an opportunity to give it away. So I put out a tweet yesterday, but the problem is I had 2 spelling errors when I posted it. And so I went and I updated it and edited it. And when that happens, apparently all the old comments get erased and I can't see the old comments. No. So there are 15 comments here, but only 4 are showing up. So I'm going to put this out again right after the show is done. And it'll be like a like and comment and reshare kind of a thing, and you'll get 1 raffle ticket. But for people who are also in the Circle community, they will get 2 raffle entries. And if you are a premium member, which is free to join for a 10-day trial, by the way, you'll get 3 raffle tickets. And then I'll take all the names, I'll put them in the ChatGPT, and I'll say, hey, pick one of these randomly. And so it's nice, true, honest, and fair. And then I'll reach out to the person, ask for a mailing address and ship it out to you. So yeah, so I will put out a fresh tweet on this little Pudgy Penguin giveaway.
2 questions. Does it come with an NFT? And are these toys, how are they doing? Is it like RFID? Is it an NFC scan? Tell us more.
Yeah, there's a QR code inside. These boxes are unopened, unless the seller I bought them from messed with it inside, but they are sealed product. And there's a QR code. You scan it on your phone, and then it takes you to the Pudgy World, which is their like open world MMORPG game and like virtual world metaverse game, if you want to use that cursed term. That isn't out yet, but you'll get like 3 items of clothing for your character in game when the game is released. And that's their next big game that I think is scheduled to be released before the end of this year, I believe. And so that's it. Yeah, there's NFTs inside of this too. And you'll be able to experience what I was telling you guys about, which is like, scan this, you're on chain. All you have to do is provide your email address. You have no idea that you're using blockchain stuff if you didn't know this. It's pretty cool.
I would agree. I have to say, yeah. And also, if you haven't tried it yet, Pudgy Party, you got to use Will's referral link because we're trying to keep him at the top of the leaderboards. We want people.
That doesn't help the leaderboards though, but it will help me get another skin of Tung Tung.
And it gets the people going.
It gets the people going.
Where can we get the QR code? Dream Team wants to know. Through the plastic.
I'll put it back in the. Hang on a second. I can get on my phone and put it here.
I think they mean for the Pengu QR, the NFT.
Oh, it's in the box.
It's in the box, so you got to buy it, or you got to win the contest.
Or you win the contest. If you win the contest, you get the NFT. Yeah.
Win the contest, and that's not the only benefit of premium membership. Is more entries. We get lots of benefits for you. 10 days free. Try it out. Come to office hours. Get a discount on a course or coaching, and hang out with the most engaged members of the community. The fastest way to learn crypto. I don't know if you know this, guys, saving time and money. You got to get around people who use it. Anything you want to learn, you need somebody who uses it. That's the best alpha we can give you. Now, I do want to give one extra final thought, which is an answer to a really good questions. This comes from John, who's always watching the show on Twitter, X, John Boyle, who asks, how can Vivo Power and other companies buy XRP at a discount, 65% discount? He says, by trading, I think he means unmined tokens. How does that work? And first, a quick point of clarity. XRP is not mined.
I was like, wait a second.
But I think what they're talking about is this escrow function and this over-the-counter function that Ripple allows, and many blockchains who control a big supply of their token allow people to do. Projects like Ripple hold a large treasury of tokens that aren't circulating yet. In Ripple's case, these are in escrow, or they might be under a vesting schedule, which means like a timed release that is written into the code and cannot be like fudged by, a person arbitrarily, unless they got the keys to do it. They can do it. The tokens exist, just like pre-mined Bitcoin, but they can't hit the market until like a specific unlock date or until other conditions are met. So Ripple, because they have control, they can make private agreements with buyers to like pre-sell those tokens. And usually they do this at a discount because they're going to get a lot of money. They're not just selling it to you and me. Maybe they'd sell it to Will and he'd trade all his Pokemon cards for a significant share of tokens in escrow. But this is like a big order. You can't just go to this counter and trade $10 for cheap XRP tokens. But this is not uncommon. It helps them bootstrap adoption, right? It could be part of a strategic partnership. The buyer agrees to integrate XRP into their payments, into their loyalty programs, or whatever. It can be a great way for them to raise capital without dumping tokens on retail. They get cash while keeping control over the circulating supply. And it can be a way to align incentives. If Vivo Power and other companies benefit from XRP adoption, then they have skin in the game to push the usage of that token to their customers. It's an inorganic way to proliferate the use of a token. And you get it at a discount. Of course, there are risks. If the token price falls below their discounted entry, they can lose money. The tokens aren't liquid until they're released, so the buyers can't exit early. And there are other things too, but it's not unique to XRP. Ethereum did early sales like this, pre-sales. Solana did this, Aptos did this, Polygon did this. The big difference is that Ripple has an enormous amount. I think it's like half the supply locked up in reserve. So it can keep striking deals like this, even though they launched years and years and years ago. So I don't know. I hope that helps. Do you have anything to add to that, Will? I thought that was a really good question.
No, it is a good question. I don't have anything to add to it because I don't really know enough about the process really to add any kind of useful nuggets of information.
No problem.
So, yeah, I think you did a great job. Thanks, man.
Thank you. Okay, that's it. We got to go. We love you. We appreciate you, and want to say thank you for being the very best part of what.
Oh, wait, is that your final thought?
That was my final thought. I thought that was your final thought. The contest. Do you have another final thought? A final?
I was gonna. Well, hey, stall for a little bit. I was gonna put this tweet out live for the
Oh,
contest.
dang. Okay.
Stall.
Yeah.
Hello,
Sorry.
my honey. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime. No, I'm not supposed to stall. You're supposed to stall.
Stall.
Yeah.
This is a gross misrepresentation of
Speaking
the
of
facts.
Alex, if you want to send good vibes to Mr. Alex Popovich, he can use them because he is moving all week. Yes, physically moving. He's setting up a new studio on Tybee Island. We cannot wait to have him back. But until that time,
My dad can beat up your dad.
you got to put up with Soundboard Alex. And you got to catch him in the Rise Up community. Alex, wherever you are, whenever you listen, I hope your candles are green, my friend. Smart contract taxes, Tech Pima says, could make trickle-down economics actually work. Interesting, and a lot of other possible mechanics. While Will is needing a stall, let me shout out Queen Argetta. Let me shout out Bearded. Let me shout out John, Ethicalish, Denzel, Protagonist, everybody who tuned in today. CJ for always reposting the stream. Joe, Wall Street 55. It is because of you that we get to be here. We get to represent your voices to the companies we talk to. Crypto Cousins is always here. Jessica is always here. Ragin' Cajun. Oh my gosh. If I missed your name, it's not because I don't love you or appreciate you. It's just because we have so many friends. We know that you're all here. Folks like Jower who've been here forever. Love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being the best part of what we do. And if Will needs me to stall anymore, I might have to do a magic trick. Fun fact about me. Kimberly, the wonderful Kimberly, my fiance, loves magic tricks. I don't have to worry that for her bachelorette party, she's going to get kidnapped by a stripper. I do have to worry that a man dressed as a pirate on a horse doing magic tricks with a sword will rob me of my forever love. So if that's you, stay away, but also let me know what your rates are because that would be pretty special. And can you teach me your ways? Your horseback riding, prestidigitating, sword slinging, flowy shirted ways. Well,
that was excellent stalling. And I need about 5 minutes more. No, I'm just kidding. The tweet is up. So it is up. You will find it right at the top of my page here, which is Coin Guide WW over on Twitter or X, where you want to call it. That is Coin Guide WW. Oh, Evan, you got me on the screen share for the TikTokies. Thanks. It's right underneath my pinned tweet, right here. You can find the rules: like, comment, reshare. I deleted the original post, so this is spelt correctly. There will be no updates to it. And then tomorrow on the morning show, we'll do the ChatGPT, live selection. So you guys have 24 hours, really 23 hours between now and then to get your submissions in for this. And again, the Twitter and X page is Coin Guide WW.
W. Two W's. Which is kind of like
that's my final thought.
A quadruple W.
Yeah. I'm a WW.
I'm a WWW. How do you feel about that? Okay,
Rude.
We gotta go. We're gonna be back tomorrow, same time, same place. I can't word up you. There are more W's.
You don't even have a W in your name. How is this possible?
You've got so much W strength. Like I feel like your
That's a weird compliment, but I really like it. I'll take that to heart.
Your ancestry felt a disturbance in the force and gathered over your shoulder to W me. I don't know. Anyway, we gotta go. We're coming back weird. Same time tomorrow. We will be back for more helpful news, commentary, and answers to your crypto questions. Until then, everybody, stay safe, be well, my friends. Rise up.